Hey, get back here. So today I want to predict Team Diamond. So they're going to be a new little thing. It's going to be like legends this year instead of current players like it was last year. And Jake is saying he's trying to secure their rights before he can put them in game. So it should be like mid-August or so. So I want to go through and like kind of give some like lower, I don't know a lower end, but like some solid legends from the last like 20, 25 years for each team that should be the Team Diamond for that team. Now, there are a few things. Obviously, a lot of it depends on players' rights and if they're willing to get into the game of Madden. Another one depends on position. So I tried to spread the wealth, so I'm sorry. 5 teams had to have offensive linemen. I know everybody hates it, but I tried to find good offensive linemen for the specific teams that I went with. So let's just get to it right off the bat. The Arizona Cardinals, I'm hoping David Boston. This guy was an absolute freak of a wide receiver when he was in Arizona for a couple of years there. I think he got pinched for steroids, but if we get peak David Boston at steroid, that dude is an absolute physical specimen. As expected, bulking up that many pounds. Next one, you're like, wait, what the hell? 2 in a row, wide receivers. No way, we won't put many more in here. We only got a couple other ones. So Roddy White, one of the greatest names in Atlanta history, kind of superseded by Julio Jones. But when they were together, and even in this game when they're together, they'll be a formidable duo. Next up on the Ravens, I ended up going with a tight end. I know they've had a little trouble with tight ends lately, but Todd Heap was not trouble, or he was trouble for opponents for many years there. So he is a tight end I'm giving to the Ravens. Of course, let me know in the comment section who you would use for your legend of the last 25 years. I mean, that's my they could go all the way back to the 70s and 80s, and they don't have to do legends of the last 25 years. So that's kind of where I took it. Kyle Williams, one of the defensive tackles from the Bills, one of the Williams wall kind of. So Buffalo Bills, Kyle Williams, sexy. We're a thick boy loving YouTube channel here. All right, next up, Carolina Panthers. Now, when I look back over the list, I was surprised I didn't have that many corners here. I only had, I think, 3 total I ended up with, but here's one of them. Eric Davis is who I went for Carolina. Carolina doesn't exactly have like a long history. They're kind of a new team, but they've been to a couple Super Bowls there. So, next one for the Bears, Olin Kreutz. I think there was a lot of centers to choose from. It feels like. And Chicago, Olin Kreutz was kind of a big part of that team in that mid-2000s. Kind of like a big, I don't know how big of name can centers be, but he was definitely somebody that I feel like really outsized his position. But Bears have had a few solid offensive linemen in the last couple decades. But Bengals, Boomer Esiason. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit back, but as a Boomer myself, I like Boomer. So let's give it the old Boomer. And I think he might be, no, this next one is the oldest one. This next one, I think him and Boomer actually was around the same age. So maybe I'm stretching that. Maybe I'm stretching that rule about 25 years a little bit too long. But he was one of the quarterbacks. There was a lot of quarterbacks to choose from. But Bengals, let's get some Boomer for him. Clay Matthews was it for Cleveland. I'm gonna go with the elder one. I think he's getting invited into their Hall of Fame, their Circle of Hall of Fame or Circle of Fame, whatever they have in Cleveland. There, will join the elder Clay Matthews, also an outside linebacker. Just like a son, even though they tried to move him, I think, to middle linebacker. Cowboys, how about them Cowboys? You're getting a strong safety in Darren Woodson. So another Woodson that they should add in the game. We've had a few solid ones, Rod, Charles. Now Darren is one that I would put in the game if I were the Dallas Cowboys. They have so much history and so many solid players through the 90s. I could have chosen an offensive lineman, but maybe I should have. But Darren Woodson, I think he's a solid name. I kind of want to see him in Mutt. Next up with the Broncos, gonna go with Ken Lanier, right tackle. I'm sorry, Broncos, you're stuck with the tackle. All right, you got one of them. Lanier's not bad though. I think there are much worse players to use. I had trouble coming up with a ton of safeties. Obviously, if I went with safeties that have been in the game, I'm trying to go with guys that haven't been in the game either. I think Kyle Williams might have been in the game, but I'm trying to go with guys that maybe haven't been in Mutt since the retirement. That's why I didn't go with some easier choices. So don't give me any player that have been in Mutt in the last 4 years, because I tried to avoid those guys. Benny Blades, free safety, Detroit Lions, another safety. I was thinking of also going with, because we're kind of short on 4-3 outside linebackers, I was taking a look at Levy there too. And was it Levy? I think it was Levy. For Detroit, because he was one of the best outside linebackers, 4-3 outside linebackers when he was in the league. Green Bay Packers going to get Donald Driver, another wide receiver. 3 of our 4 wide receivers. No, maybe we have more. I don't know. Not gonna most spoilers. Because the other one is right after him. At least another one is right after him. I mean, this is just an obvious choice, right? Andre Johnson, one of the greatest receivers, kind of underlooked greatest receivers, in my opinion, all time. So Donald Drive on Andre Johnson back-to-back. Indianapolis Colts, who also could lay claim to that same player, but we are going to give them Dwight Freeney, right end. So a guy with a high, spin move, he should have basically finesse moves out the wazoo. Spin specialist should be just basically come auto-equipped on that Dwight Freeney. Jaguars, one of their greatest players of all time, was an offensive lineman, Tony Baselli. I'm going to give them the left tackle of the bunch. Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to give you two choices. Now, one's been in game, one hasn't. So Brian Waters or Will Shields, right? Will Shields has been in the game, but I want one of them to be on the guards. Like two of the better guards of all time. Obviously, Will Shields was slightly better than Waters, but still at least well regarded. Both of them very solid. So either one of them, I'm fine. Brian Waters or Will Shields, they're going to take one of my guard spots for us. For the Los Angeles Chargers, we're going to give you another corner. Quentin Jammer. Kind of like, he was booked as like, just the greatest thing ever. He came out, he didn't exactly fulfill that, but he was still a very solid player through his career. Maybe part of being in San Diego, now Los Angeles, kind of like lowered his, kind of exposure to the whole place. But he was a solid corner. Again, he was no Deion Sanders, but not exactly terrible. Los Angeles Rams, who are you getting? I'm going to give you a left end, Leonard Little. So he isn't just a little guy. He is a solid guy. Miami Dolphins, I'm going to roll through and grab you a Zach Thomas. I know he's been demanded. I think he was actually in Madden 15 or MUT 15. So another player that actually has already been in. This one just retired a couple years ago. I'm going to give Minnesota Vikings Jared Allen the right end. So I think he would be a very good end. I mean, one of the most productive. Wasn't he? Oh, shoot. He had 21 in a season, 21 sacks, if I recall correctly. So if they do his peak season, if they do cards based on that season, heck yeah. And I'm going to give a defensive tackle to New England Patriots, Vince Wilfork. Ooh, another thick boy. Him and Williams next to each other. Solid name there. Like, all of these guys, just, I don't know how old many people watching this video are, but either your childhood, young adulthood, or just your old age like me, because I'm 84 years old. You watched a lot of these people play, and you're like, wow, yeah, I really do want to play with them in MUT now that you say that. These would be kind of ideal players to play with. New York Saints, you get another quarterback. Maybe you don't want a quarterback, so you already have Breeze, but I'm going to give you Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks, kind of underrated. He had a solid few years there for Saints. They never set the world on fire, but they were very good teams back then. New York Giants, they had Tiki Barber, one of the best running backs, underrated, and I think New York actually hates Tiki Barber now, don't they? I don't know. Jets, you're going to get a tackle again. So I have a couple left tackles, actually. Is usually these promos do come out with a few left tackles. So we are giving left tackle DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, and Baselli, two of the greatest left tackle names that haven't gotten to the MUT for one reason or another. We're going to give them to those two squads. Now, you could be like, well, do you have a right tackle? I don't know. Do I have a right tackle? No. Maybe one of them has to go to right tackle to kind of balance it out, but I was going to do... Oh, no, I did do Ken Lanier. Sorry, yeah, I did do Ken Lanier for Broncos. So I do have a right tackle, two left tackles. So we have left tackles. I have one right tackle, a center, and a guard. So we would need one more guard to finish it off. Otherwise, we got, 1, 2, 3 corners. We got a couple quarterbacks, 4 receivers, a tight end, defensive tackles, 1 right end, an outside linebacker, middle linebacker. So we need a couple more positions here going forward. But Nande Asma, for those who used to play Madden, just absolute lockdown player when he was with the Raiders. Unfortunately, he went to the Dream Team and lost his skills for some reason. They didn't put him in a position to succeed in Philadelphia. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Coaching makes more of a difference than we realize. Westbrook is who I'm going to give to the Eagles. I mean, somebody that we really do need back in MUT, do need back in Madden, because that guy was solid. I feel like underrated for a long time, still underrated. Was just an absolute stud during his career. The Steelers always seem to get offensive linemen, so this is why I know I'm 100% correct that Alan Faneca is going to be in as the team diamond for the Steelers. They always get linemen in these fucking promos. I hate it. So Alan Faneca there. I mean, that's the curse and the great thing about having a solid O-line is that you always get good O-linemen. Alan Faneca, Hall of Famer. Patrick Willis, middle linebacker. I mean, this would be a great get. San Francisco 49ers have wanted this guy forever back in the MUT since he retired a few years back. Seattle Seahawks, Sean Alexander, an absolute, I don't know, monster on the field. He also ran behind one of the best offensive lines that we've seen in quite some time, Hutchinson and Jones. So Alexander, whether a product of the system or just supremely talented himself, you kind of give him credit for being just out there and in charge. This guy, I don't know about this guy. Warren Sapp, I heard he's a real dick. I doubt people want to work with dicks. We'll see if this dick wants to be in the game because he's a dick. Titans, Keith Bullock. And last one, another middle linebacker to fill out our linebacker core. We're going to go London Fletcher for the Redskins. So, a solid. I think the only reason I was thinking, like, I need more safeties, potentially another DB there, and the outside linebackers. I don't really have, like, a 4-3 outside linebacker. I got a few middle linebackers there, and that's the only thing. Like, it's hard to balance these things with names of the past. So, let me know what you guys would change and what you guys would do for the Team Diamonds, who you'd put on the field, or what kind of Team Diamonds you'd want. But yeah, if they get close to this list, it would probably be one of the best promos of all time in my opinion. There's, a lot of names. I'm guessing they're gonna go a little bit lower names than this for because these are some of the greatest players to ever play the game, and of the last 25 years. And, maybe a little bit longer, later than that too, or earlier than that. But that's it. Thanks for watching Call to Action. I'll see you tomorrow.